It's trade season, and the amount of rumors about players getting moved are picking up quickly. Every day, there's more news and a new rumor spreading about a potential trade that may go down between two teams. Seeing as you guys enjoyed the last couple videos like this, I'm bringing you one more. In today's video, I'll be looking at 5 players who are on the market and their blockbuster trade scenarios that I believe have a high-ish chance of happening this season, with reasoning behind them. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content. But with that being said, let's get right into this top 5.
Lucas.
Number 5, Ben Simmons. Let's start with a little bit of a crazy one with Ben Simmons, and I'm pretty sure we all know what it is, so I won't spend too long on it. With the 76ers' recent struggles, a lot of rumors have been swirling with this team, and many believe the problem in Philly is Ben Simmons. The other day, a pretty crazy rumor came out saying the Warriors may trade for Simmons in a swap with D'Angelo Russell. So, how does this benefit both sides? Well, first of all, this trade wouldn't actually happen during this season, as Simmons is still on his rookie contract. However, this is Simmons' last year on this contract, and a giant extension is due. So once the season ends, D'Lo and Simmons' contracts will line up pretty well, so a swap is definitely possible. Why would the Warriors want to do this though? Well, Simmons is a much better fit in Golden State than D'Angelo Russell is. The problem Philadelphia has always had is figuring out how to build around Simmons, and they've yet again failed that this season. In Golden State next season, Simmons will have the elite shooters of Klay and Steph to back him up. It would be like what Giannis' situation is right now, except with a worse Giannis and much better shooters. Simmons is a playmaker, and with insane shooters like Curry and Klay around him, it will help space the floor more and allow for Curry and Klay to get more open shots and for Simmons to get easier drives to the basket. Again, I don't want to go on for too long here, as you've all probably seen the reports, but you get the idea. Simmons to the Warriors would be crazy, and potentially an NBA breaking move. For Philly, they've been in need of a guard who can score and run the offense, but can also space the floor and shoot too. With many believing the Simmons and Embiid duo isn't working out, and with Embiid subtly calling out Simmons in a media conference, maybe a trade for D'Lo would be worthwhile. D'Lo has been amazing for the Warriors so far this season when he has played, and though injuries are haunting them right now, D'Lo has time and time again proved why he is an all-star caliber player. If anyone is going to persist in making this trade, it's the Warriors, and depending on how the 76ers finish their season, I believe they'll be prepared to make a trade like this in the off-season. No matter how unrealistic this may seem, I want it to happen. It suits both teams so well and would be a massive bombshell trade that would send shockwaves throughout the NBA. The Warriors jump right back into contention, and the trio of Simmons, Klay and Curry would be insane. The trade is a win-win in my eyes too, and by far the biggest blockbuster trade on this list. Number 4, Kyle Kuzma. Ever since his trainer talked badly about LeBron on social media, Kuzma's name has failed to escape trade rumors. Even though he reportedly apologized to LeBron and all, I think it's still very likely he gets traded this season, even though I disagree with it. He's been inconsistent and inefficient, and his stats have taken a big hit this year. He hasn't lived up to expectations. With his name being the most frequent in rumors so far this season, I think I kind of have to talk about a potential deal involving him. So who wants Kuzma? I've seen a couple teams in rumors such as Sacramento and Memphis, but with the Lakers asking for an incredibly high price from the Kings, it looks like they won't be in discussions for long. Losing Bogdan Bogdanovic and more for just Kuzma is a completely horrible idea, and I hope the Kings realize that. But I do think Memphis are a likely suitor for Kyle Kuzma. So, what would a trade look like between LA and Memphis? In my eyes, it would look like this. The Grizzlies get Kyle Kuzma, Quinn Cook, DeMarcus Cousins, and Avery Bradley for Andre Iguodala. Now, originally, for the Lakers, I had them giving up KCP in this deal to get Andre Iguodala, but with the way he's been playing recently, I felt like the Lakers should keep him around, so I added in DeMarcus Cousins and Avery Bradley, which shouldn't hurt too much to lose. Getting back Andre Iguodala is obviously a big win for them. They've been pursuing him for ages this season, and considering the Grizzlies won't budge and waive Iggy, they will have to trade for him. And this is a pretty good deal for him in my eyes. The Grizzlies get Kuzma, who adds more talent to an already loaded young core, and guys like DeMarcus Cousins are on expiring contracts anyway, so they don't need to keep them around. Quinn Cook is a solid rotational player, and Avery Bradley is a hard grit defensive minded player who can be a great leader and veteran for this team. Overall, I think whilst the Grizzlies do get a lot of players with Kuzma they may not want, I think most of them will be beneficial to the team. As for the Lakers, this is a fantastic move for them, as getting Andre Iguodala, a vet that can still play at a high level, can get you a bucket, and has a ton of playoff success and experience, will help them majorly in the long term. Number 3, Derrick Rose. With a rebuild imminent in Detroit, one player that's on the block is Derrick Rose, as he could help the Pistons get a lot in return. Though he hasn't really been involved in heavy rumours, and the Pistons recently came out and said he wouldn't be traded unless he asked for one, I think it would still be interesting to look at potential suitors for him. I know one team is for sure in pursuit of him, and that's the Los Angeles Lakers. So, what would a deal look like if the Lakers really want to grab D Rose and add him to their stacked team? Well, to me, it looks pretty similar to the trade I mentioned before, but with some slight changes. The Lakers get Derrick Rose, and the Pistons get DeMarcus Cousins, Quinn Cook, and Kyle Kuzma. For the Pistons, the addition of Kuzma is great, as he's a good player to start the rebuild off with, and as I mentioned earlier, Cook is a decent player himself. Also, Cousins' contract is expiring, so they can let him go after the season if they wish. The Lakers are in need of another point guard that can create his own shot and score at will when LeBron is on the bench, basically someone who can step up and take over the offense. D Rose can 100% do that, and has proved it this season, making a case for an All-Star appearance. Overall, I will admit this trade isn't the most realistic out there, but I still think it's fun to think of, and the trade kind of ties in with Kuzma's situation as he's in the deal. We'll just have to wait and see what the Pistons front office decides to do as the trade deadline approaches. Number 2, CJ McCollum. In my last trade video, I mentioned CJ McCollum at the start and how he was an honorable mention due to the fact I couldn't find any good deals for him. Well, now I found one, and though it's pretty crazy, I think it's perfect for Portland considering their current situation, and it's a great deal for the receiving team too. The trade is between the Philadelphia 76ers and the Portland Trail Blazers. I did go over this very briefly before in my video recently on Philly, but I want to go more in depth with it now, so this is what it looks like. The Philadelphia 76ers receive CJ McCollum, and the Blazers get back Al Horford, Zaire Smith, and a first rounder. This is a good deal for Philadelphia, as getting CJ McCollum means the spacing problem on the team is pretty much fixed. Philly has struggled all year with spacing and shooting, and CJ brings that to the squad. Overall, trading for him is pretty self-explanatory and makes a lot of sense for the 76ers in their current situation. As for letting go of Al Horford, it shouldn't bother them or him too much, as he's been complaining about his role on offense and his fit with Embiid was pretty awful. I also think it's worth keeping Harris over him, so that's another good reason why this deal works for Philly. For the Blazers, they have struggled to repeat their success from last year, and a bit of retooling needs to be done. CJ seems like the player that would be first to go out of any of the stars on the squad, that's why he's getting traded in this deal. The Blazers have poor depth at their big man positions due to injuries, and I feel like the addition of Al Horford will help things a lot. Zaire Smith has potential to be a solid role player, and there's nothing wrong with a first round pick. Overall, this is a great deal for both sides, and particularly for Philadelphia. They desperately need to fix their lineup and stop valuing names over fit. CJ fits way better than Horford and can actually shoot efficiently consistently, which all of the starting five have struggled to do this season. It makes Portland a more formidable side throughout the starting lineup and not really in just the backcourt and wings. Let me know your thoughts on this trade below and who would win the deal in your opinion, but now let's move on to number 1. Number 1, Chris Paul. Though the Thunder are playing really well this season, and with CP3 having a great year himself there, even though the stats may not say that, according to Woj, the Thunder are still looking to make deals closer to the deadline. CP3's massive contract is one they may perhaps like to get rid of, and there are plenty of suitors out there for him. However, one team I think that should pull the trigger on a deal for CP3 and turn them into the scariest team in the league is the Milwaukee Bucks. It sounds crazy, and the trade would be on a level comparable to some of the trades from the off-season, and it sounds a bit risky for the Bucks too. But I think at the end of the day, it will be worth Milwaukee's time. This is what a trade would look like, and then I'll get into the reasoning behind this crazy deal. The Milwaukee Bucks get Chris Paul, and the Oklahoma City Thunder get back Eric Bledsoe, Ersan Ilyasova, Robin Lopez, DJ Wilson, and Sterling Brown to make salary work, as well as a draft pick. This is a great deal for the Bucks. Chris Paul has been playing a fantastic brand of basketball lately and has been insanely clutch. His fit next to Giannis and the other guys would be perfect, and most importantly, he's a massive upgrade over Eric Bledsoe. His contract is probably the only thing holding the Bucks back on pulling the trigger on this deal, but I think it will be worth it for them. For OKC, Eric Bledsoe is a cost-efficient replacement for CP3, but I think his presence instead of Paul means Shai Gilgeous-Alexander can get more touches and develop more into a star. There's a lot of players in here to make the financial side of the trade work, but I think they can all be good backup players for OKC and make the team even deeper, such as Robin Lopez, DJ Wilson, and Sterling Brown. Overall, I really like this deal for the Bucks, and it makes them instant favorites. The Thunder get solid replacements back that can either be traded at a later date or be used as veterans for their upcoming rebuild and add depth to the team. I do think it's a bit of a stretch, and it is hard to make a deal work for CP3 considering his contract, but I think it would be worthwhile for both teams in the end. And that will conclude the video. What do you guys think of these trades? Which one is the most realistic to you? Which ones do you think are a bit too crazy, and do you have any of your own? Let me know all your thoughts on these potential trades down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I am out. Peace.